Hi mamas, and welcome back to the Mamas Who Brunch. I am Jelena, your host, and I have a really fun guest with me today, Mimi Kerner. And we recently became friends. Was it the St. Louis Network?
I think it was on Instagram before. And then you showed up to one of the events.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had created the Mamas Who Brunch podcast. And did you find me through the podcast?
Maybe you had posted something on our like local neighborhood thing.
Yes, that's
like
what it
sort
was.
of advertising it.
A month later. But here we are.
Here we are.
We're on the back porch, so if you hear like crickets, we're outside enjoying the beautiful
nice weather.
Spring weather. But today we're going to talk about mothering through grief. And grief is something that people don't talk about for obvious reasons. It's really difficult. And being a mother through grief is a whole nother level because, you know, as women, we're expected to show up, to nurture, and to hold everything together while all this is happening. So we're going to talk through an experience that Mimi went through. But before we get started, can you kind of share with our listeners who you are?
So we've been in St. Louis about almost to be like 4 years this fall. My husband is from here, but I am not. To be honest, I'm not even sure where I'm from. People always ask me that, and I'm like, honestly, I don't know because I've spent about equal amounts of time in the places I've lived. So we were in Wisconsin before this for 8 years. I was in North and South Carolina prior to that. Most of my family lives in Minnesota.
So where were you? You were born in Minnesota though, right? Or were
I was technically born in Korea when I was adopted. But then we lived in Minnesota until I was in first grade. Then we moved away to Boston for 8 years, and then we moved back to Minnesota.
See, you've kind of told me the story, and I'm glad we have it recorded because now I can go back and
now I can remember. I know, and I always kind of leave out the Boston part, but yeah, I lived in Boston for 8 years,
I love Boston.
And then we moved back to Minnesota when I was in high school. And so it's honestly funny because I'm like, I say I'm from Minnesota, but like honestly, I haven't really lived there that long.
Yeah,
it's been in like smaller chunks. I have 3 kids. All have H names, not on purpose, except for the last one. They are 19 months, almost 5, and almost. My oldest is going to be 9 on May 8th.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, coming up. It's crazy. I don't feel, in my mind, I'm still like 27. So I'm like, am I old enough to have a 9-year-old? I guess so.
It's just like that. I feel like it's always going to be like that.
100%. I'm young at heart, young in my brain. I don't know. I work full time, work a lot. So yeah. So
I
went to
tell a
middle
little
school.
About your job?
Yeah, I work for a pretty like staple of St. Louis. I kind of had to reinvent my career when we moved here. I had been in the corporate retail fashion industry and private label for like 13 years. And then we had been trying to live by family for a long, long time. And so uprooted and moved here. And I had a friend who worked with me at Kohl's, which is where I was before, who was at my current company and helped me get a job. But it was like about the only thing that was similar was like, negotiating vendors and pricing. And that was about it. And I was like, I don't know anything else. So kind of had to reinvent myself, reinvent my career and starting over. And it's like a pretty young company. I feel like I'm working with a lot of people who are very young. So it also feels weird to feel like you had a whole life before you got to where you're at that like no one knows about with like skills that you don't even use anymore.
That's really odd, isn't it? I'm in the same boat.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. You feel like you have to tell people like, hi, I am this age, but I did something before I got here.
I lived a whole other life before I got here.
If you want to know how a garment is constructed, I will tell you.
Yeah.
But you probably don't care. But
So you are also on the like events team, correct?
I am a content creator for St. Louis Mom. So that started maybe last year. And was in the midst of starting a side hustle of like a personal shopper stylist thing. But then I got a new role at work and it's kind of gotten shelved. Yeah. Still a fun thing I like to do. I like more of the personal shopping probably than this actual like styling piece.
If you were going to continue that at another point in time, what would that look like?
So I did have a client, which was actually really fun, and it was actually a wife. They hired me for her husband, and they were going to this very fancy wedding where there was like a desired dress code, and the bride had sent images of inspiration of like for the brunch, for the ceremony, for the rehearsal dinner, you got to wear stuff that looks like this. So she just sent me the pictures, and then I went out and I shopped for her husband.
Love it.
And he ended up buying every single piece I bought.
Oh, I love it.
So it was like, and it was like a lot.
So you obviously have an eye for style.
Yes, and I love, and it's fun, it's passionate. I love people, you know, who that's something they don't love to do. Like a lot of people, like I'm like I hate shopping for jeans, or I don't like going to the mall, or I don't like trying things on in places. Like
that's me.
I think it's so fun to like go out. I know. I think it's so fun to go out and you know, pick things out for people and to see them try it on and be like, oh my gosh, you know, the lady said to me, she was like, oh my gosh, she's like, I could not have done this better. Like you literally hit the nail on the head, and like you hadn't even met us. And so
that just shows that you have like a creative eye. A lot of people don't have that.
I think it's the creative eye, and then I don't know if the word's like empathy, but it's like I like thinking about, you know, so he was a guy who like wears big and tall sizes. He's a tall guy. And so just like thinking about like, you know, they're going to the beach and he's probably going to want like stretchy, breathable fabrics. He's not going to want something like super heavy. You know, he probably wants to wear a shoe that like doesn't have his sock hanging out of it on the beach. Like, you know, I just like thinking about those things and helping, you know, people think about like their fashion choices and like planning ahead of like, yeah, it's going to be really hot and it's going to be really humid.
Yeah.
Like, but you want to look good too.
That's definitely a motherhood instinct.
Yes.
Paying attention to all the detail and like predicting what the weather's going to be like 100%. And where they're going to go and what they're going to do. Like, it's putting all the pieces together.
Yes, 100%.
So there's got to be something
planning
like
for what the things they can't even think about. Right?
Great. Yeah. I'm really glad that you shared all the places you've lived, because now I can go back and listen.
I know.
I think it's great. I mean, I've been definitely not to the extreme that you have, but I've lived in the Midwest in like, you know, 3 cities in the Midwest. So it's hard to uproot your life every time you move somewhere and make an adjustment.
Yes, yes. And you just meet so many different people, and
that is the beautiful part, but it's also hard because
hard.
You leave them behind.
It is. It's hard. And like, you know, transparently being Asian too, like living in the South, I was actually very difficult. I went to a college that's very predominantly white, very Southern. Like it was not a school that had a lot of kids from out of state, out of the South. I had like a girlfriend from high school who went to Davidson, which is in North Carolina. And it was all like people from all over the US. But like diverse. My school was not it. It was like my school, I think, kind of built its reputation on like being Southern. My brother went there, but my brother is a Caucasian male. So he had a very different experience than I did when he was there. And I picked it, and I wanted to go there, but I don't think I was expecting it to be and like sticking out, I guess, as much as I thought that I would. So it's just been like interesting. Like going to Wisconsin was kind of like a breath of fresh air of like, oh my gosh, I'm living back in the Midwest where people don't really care necessarily. And not all Midwest places are like that, but where like my race wasn't really like an issue. But yeah, so it's been interesting, all the different places.
So living in St. Louis, you feel like it's been a positive experience?
So far, I think so. Yeah, I mean, some people would probably say like the area you live in and like the district that my kids are in is maybe not as diverse as one may like, but it hasn't necessarily been anything that I've overtly noticed.
I appreciate you sharing, and I think the conversation today is just so our listeners kind of understand why we're here, is you're sharing a story about your nephew that passed away in 2024. So I feel like that's
23.
I still feel like that's very recent.
Yeah, it is.
So in the midst of that, you know, you're a parent to 2 children at the time. So you weren't pregnant?
No.
No. So, and that was kind of around, so if you've lived here almost 4 years, kind of around the time you had just moved to St. Louis.
Yeah. Yes, we had moved to St. Louis November of 2022. And it was my sister's 50th birthday. And I went home. It was March. Actually, no, it was April. It was April because they went on spring break to Mexico, and we celebrated her birthday in April, which is after her birthday. I flew home to go.
So is this her son?
Yes.
Okay.
So I flew home to go surprise her just for the weekend. And it was super fun. Like her husband had planned this whole thing. My brother flew in from Texas. I was there. He had hired a friend that was like a personal chef to like do this beautiful meal for her. And it was lovely. We sat around my parents' dining room table and like said all these lovely things about my sister and how much we all loved her. And then she went around and told us how much she loved us. And it was just like a really nice weekend. I left that Monday, I believe, to come back to St. Louis. And my nephew, I should maybe back up. My nephew had just gotten a brand new job in Chicago. And so he was moving out of his apartment in Minnesota.
And how old is he?
20.
Or was he?
4 at the time. And he was moving out of his apartment and moving to Chicago like a month or 2 later. And so that weekend, he just happened to be staying at his parents' house because he got out of the apartment that Sunday. So yeah, I left Monday, and just like all the things and details I remember. I went to a work event on Tuesday, and it was super fun. I don't remember from the Armory. That was like downtown before it went like kind of went bankrupt or whatever. Yeah. So we had a really fun like work event, and I remember going home, and my mom texted me on my way home and just said, "Hey, call me when you get home." And I usually call her like on my drive home from work, so I just like didn't think much of it, and called her on my drive home, and she didn't seem like, she was obviously trying not to be like overly strange, but she was like, "Hey, why don't you just call me back when you get home?" And I'm like, "Why?" I was like, "What's up?"
Yeah. Trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And I was like, "I'm almost home." Literally, I was like 2 minutes away. And she's like, "Well, your nephew had a seizure. He fell out of the bed and he died."
Oh,
and it literally was like in that. I was like, "Wait, what?" She was like, "Yeah, he had a seizure and he died." So I knew my nephew had epilepsy. So we did know that. That wasn't like a surprise. But I don't think I ever knew. And I think my sister would say the same collectively. Like we had no idea that that was like a risk of something that could happen. It's called SUDEP, sudden unexpected death from epilepsy. And it's like the doctors like still don't know why it's happened. Why it happens. Like the person dies and just like happens in their sleep. And so they don't know if they have a seizure and it causes them to kind of like have a stroke, or whether the other theory is like they have a seizure and it like messes up the like wiring in their brain, and it like makes it so they don't know how to breathe basically, and like suffocate. Okay. So it's just no one knows, but we know that he did have a seizure, and like I think he got up in the night and like, or in the morning, and to like go either tell someone or get up, and then like they found him I think on the floor like the next morning.
But you had just had the time with him.
I just saw him. It was so
birthday.
crazy. I literally saw him Monday and he passed Tuesday morning. And he was like, you know, he's someone I only saw like generally like on holidays, Christmas, like in the summer. And so it's kind of crazy that I had just seen him and had the whole weekend to spend with him and hang out.
Do you feel like that, like the Lord helped you with that closure, like just having the time with him?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I still have regrets about that weekend though. And I know it's like hindsight and you can't change it. Like I just regret, like should have helped him, like move out of his apartment. We could have spent more time together. That Monday I was working, should have like spent more time. Like this is so stupid. Saturday night, I think so our thing was we like to play games, like board games.
Typical family.
We were going to play a game, but my sister and I went to the mall. And I think by the time we got back from the mall, he was like so tired because he had been moving all day. And so like, I do regret that like I went to the mall and like was there too long. I know why I was there. It's like, cause I'm a mom and I never ever have time to shop. I'm never traveling
to go.
Yeah. And I'm never traveling without my kids. So it's like, I went cause I actually had a hot second to myself. So it's like, there's a part of it, it's like, you can't regret it because you knew why you were there. And I don't think in the moment, had I not known like that I would have done it differently. But it's still, you know, you think like, what could we have talked about? What, you know, all the things before.
I feel like that's been part of like the like healing process, is to just kind of like recap like that weekend. Do you think about that weekend a lot?
I do. I wish we had taken more pictures. I have one blurry video he took of me that he sent me.
Oh. That's still really precious though.
And honestly, it was like really crazy. It was several months after when I found an old voicemail on my phone from him from that Christmas. He went to a duck shack in the woods to go hunting. So he didn't get to say goodbye to us after Christmas. And he left me this long voicemail of he loved me and he loved the kids. And I hope you have safe travels back to Wisconsin at the time. And it was just so nice to see you for the holidays and like all these things. And it was just crazy hearing it and like him saying goodbye and all this stuff, because I don't know, it's like the things you would say to a person, like, I don't know, before you're going to go and never see them again.
And like he didn't know, obviously.
Obviously he didn't know. And again, I saw him after that, but just like hearing that back and some of the things he said in it, it was like all the things that I really needed to hear from him.
Good. That's
the
so
fact.
special.
But yeah, so there's that. And then to rub salt in the wound, like my husband ended up losing his job 3-4 months after I lost my nephew. And that was literally like 9 months after we moved here too, and like bought a house
So much
and did all the
change.
things.
Yeah.
And, you know, kind of bought like our forever home. I mean, no one thinks like, hey, I got a new job and I'm going to lose my job 9 months after I got it. Like financially, you're just not thinking that could ever be a thing.
No.
We had spent a lot of money moving because we didn't really get a lot of assistance with that. So it was just like the worst possible timing.
Yeah.
ever.
So, and just so like listeners understand, like you were really close with your nephew.
Yeah, he was like my little brother. My siblings are a good bit older than me, so my nephew and I were only 10 years apart. And like I helped watch him as a baby. And like spent a lot of time with him because they followed us to Boston when we moved, and like we kind of like nannied him for a while. My sister worked, and so yeah, like all of my, I have 9 nieces and nephews between my husband and I, and like he and I for sure were the closest. We kind of like grew up together, so it was honestly like losing your little brother, really, truly.
Yeah. I'm so sorry that happened. Well, I really appreciate you sharing. I know it's like really difficult. So just going through the midst of grief, what do you hold on to that helps you get through the hard days?
I mean, I think obviously having kids like pushes you through. It's like kind of the good thing and the bad thing, right? Because it's like your kids don't really know. My kids were little, so my oldest was like 6, and my even younger than that, probably 5. And then my, one before that was like barely 2.
Yeah.
And so he has especially like no clue what's going on. And
do you feel like that made it easier or harder for you to be, like a supportive mom for them during that time?
I don't know, to be honest. I think it made it easier to like kind of pretend it wasn't happening in a lot of ways. Just because
really
they don't
hard,
understand
like,
what's happening.
Part of my brain, when I hear you sharing the story, it's like, that's also your motherhood.
Yeah.
Like being impacted by something really horrible.
Yeah.
So
and you don't want, and that's the whole thing. It's like you cannot spend your days falling apart. And I know probably to some, especially right after it happened, like people might say from the outside, like, oh, wow, you didn't really deal with that. You didn't really like fully grieve losing him. But it's like, in a lot of ways, I'm like, I felt like I couldn't. Like, and then my husband losing his job, I was like carrying everything for everybody. I felt like I couldn't really afford to like fall apart. And I had started a new job too, and it's like they didn't really know me, so it's like you're still kind of building up your reputation and who you are.
You couldn't really fall apart at work.
No. And so, and I'm unhealthily probably that person that goes to work and it's like, okay, I can just like work and not think about things.
I think that's a blessing. Like it's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. I mean, it kept me probably going for some people. Yeah. I don't know. It was hard because I just felt like I had to keep it together because I had 2 small kids like relying on me. We had just moved here. They had gone through a lot of changes. My daughter literally like got uprooted in the middle of her kindergarten year.
And you had started going to a new church at that time or no?
It was that summer, like literally a few weeks after my husband like lost his job, that we had started going somewhere, but still like didn't really know people.
Right.
It was very like new,
fresh. Everything was new. New house, new city, new job, lost his job. Everything kind of hit you. How do you feel now? Obviously, like there's still some things that haven't changed, but how do you feel looking back on that time now that you're kind of removed from it?
I mean, I think the reality is like I couldn't have done things differently, I guess. There's a part of me that's probably like, you haven't probably fully grieved it. Like we went to church at Easter service. And I am not, let me tell you, I obviously cried here, but I am not a crier. I am generally not a crying person. People would sometimes tell you probably you're like maybe too unemotional. And I went to Easter service and I could not stop crying. Like could not stop crying.
And that's unusual?
Very unusual. Could not stop crying. I don't know. They were talking about, like death is not final and all these things. And I was like, well, I hope that's the case because like a lot of promises of like going to see him again.
Do you believe that?
I feel like I have to believe it. No, it's just like, I definitely want to believe that like I'm going to see him again.
Yeah. I definitely believe that. Did he have a relationship with God?
Yeah. I mean, his dad, my brother-in-law, is a pastor, and so yeah.
What's like the denomination?
Oh gosh, he's been at a couple different churches. I think it's Baptist. He's at a Baptist church, but I think it's like American Baptist, which I think is
There's
different.
so many different types.
So many different things.
But he had a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part. Like, I feel like as somebody that's going through grief, it is comforting to know that they had a relationship with the Lord. That should
his
give some
name is
peace of
Jonah,
mind.
and his brother's name's Elijah. Oh, very biblical name.
Very biblical. Yeah. Well, I went to a funeral a few years back. My father-in-law's, he used to be a pastor, and when he was no longer a minister, they asked him to do the funeral.
Yeah.
And one of the things this was a very hard service because it was a friend of his, very young. I mean, I think he's in his late 80s, passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
And he was a doctor and like super healthy.
Yeah.
One of the most amazing people that saved people's lives.
Yeah.
He did all these amazing things, but yet he passed away. So it was very hard for me, even. I didn't really know him. I knew his family, but going to that funeral, one of the things that Cullen said has stuck with me, and it's helped me when I've gone through a grieving process, and it's that God, we only see one part of the story, but his goal is for us to live eternally with him. Like, our goals are so current and like we're focused on what's happening right now, but he's looking at eternity. So in his mind, it's like he's going to be with him in eternity. So it's hard for us to accept it. But it's like, and part of it is we live in like a world of sin and death. Like, everything that happens isn't a result of God doing it. It's because we live in this, like, it's a world of sin and death.
Yeah.
We're all going to die eventually. It's just, what is God's purpose for our life? But what do you feel like, if you could share with people what you would want them to know about his life, what would it be?
I mean, he definitely lived life to the fullest. Even though he had epilepsy, I feel like he did not, for the most part, like ever really let that hold him back. Like, his name was Jonah. We called him like Jonah Bear. And like, he used to give like, cute. And he was like, you know, he went from being this little kid to being like way bigger
Big bear
than me. And he just used to give like the most genuine, like, bear hugs. And like, that was one thing that was really sad to me. It was like that my kids, like Hadley will kind of remembers him.
Yeah.
But like Harrison will not remember him. And then like Harper will never know him. And so that was like really sad thinking about that. But I think, I don't know, living life to the fullest, to, you know, kind of love without regret and to just have fun.
Yeah.
You know, and like, yeah, he had, you know, it was hard to grieve like the future that we knew was in front of him. Like, he had been working in politics and like went to DC and like, you know, kind of had grown a little disillusioned with that. And so he wanted to do something different. So he got this great job at a university in Chicago. It was like his dream thing. And he was so excited. And so, you know, it was hard to think, oh my gosh, he went through such a tough time, like trying to really find his career path. And then it was literally right there. And
so aggravating.
And yeah. And so, you know, I don't know. I think like the other takeaway for me is like, you know, sometimes I think in Christian culture, there's this like tendency for like toxic positivity of like, oh my gosh, everything happens for a reason. And it's like, I hear that, but it's like, you know, sometimes stuff happens and it just sucks.
Yeah.
Like, when children die and when children die before their parents, I can't realistically really come up with a great answer for like,
can't either.
That happened for a reason, you know? Not to say that like from that there can't be positive things, but I do think that like sometimes just bad things happen. And it's like, there doesn't have to be some,
it's a
like
cruel world.
Yeah. Greater, grander. Sometimes it's just as painful and it hurts and you have to sit in it, and you have to accept that you're just not going to know today. Like, why that happened.
There's
to
no
you.
explanation.
Yeah. And someday maybe I'll know, you know, why that had to happen at the age that it happened, you know, why he didn't make it to 25. It was literally like 2 months before his 25th birthday.
I think that's an important thing to bring up, because I feel like a lot of people that go through grief, it's like people that can't relate. It's hard for them to know what to say to like help encourage.
Oh yeah.
And
totally.
There's nothing you really can say.
Yeah, there isn't. I mean, that would be my advice, I guess, to anyone who has
a friend who's going through grief, I mean, obviously you kind of have to feel the situation out, but like, don't be afraid to like ask about the person they've lost. Don't be afraid to ask about the hard thing that they're going through, because again, more often than not, like losing Jonah, it's like everybody and their dog shows up like right when it happens. You know, they come to the funeral, people are texting you and calling you. But like, how do you feel a year later, 2 years later? People stop asking.
100%.
People stop caring.
Well, it's almost kind of, people feel awkward to ask.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah.
And I get that, but it's also like, for me, so I lost somebody very special to me, my grandmother, Rita, and my daughter will never get to meet her.
Yeah.
And I've had to release that.
Yeah.
It's been very hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a white rocking chair up there that was hers.
It was hers. Yeah.
And so my plan is to just like talk about her and like share pictures. Like I have a memory box full of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's, I guess, my way to console myself, because I can't, obviously I do believe in eternal life, and I hope one day they'll get to meet. Yeah. But it's like, I just will share the beauty of like how she impacted my life with Sophia. That's all that I can do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%.
And I do grieve it. I mean, but at the same time, like the way that I can honor my grandma Rita is to just talk about her. Yeah. With my daughter.
Yeah. I mean, that's the weird thing I think about grief. Like, it's weird to say that it gets easier, because I'm like, obviously 3.5 years later, like you asked me about it, and like, I'm like,
it's hard.
Truly a complete mess if I really like could allow it. I don't know if it just lands softer. You kind of build your life around it. Like, keep imagining it like a donut. Like the grief is in the center and your life just kind of builds around it, and you just learn to like move with it, honor it when it comes. But yeah, I mean, it's still like, again,
I don't think it ever goes away.
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. It just maybe doesn't sting as bad like immediately.
Well, I remember when I lost my grandma Rita that I've mentioned, like I couldn't even really look at her photos. Yeah. It was too painful.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I mean, for years. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. It's part of the process. Like, I think healing is different for every person, and there's not like a formula. And I feel like God can touch us and like show us, he can help us through those situations. Yeah. Even years later, I feel like God's dropped things in my mind that like clarified something that happened years ago.
Yeah. I mean, after my husband lost his job, I mean, there was just like straight moments of panic of like, how are we going to make it? How are we going to afford life? How do we keep our kids like relatively unscathed from this? How do we keep our house? I mean, there was like so many of those questions that passed my mind, and top of like going through like a very significant traumatic experience. And, you know, I guess all I can say is that through all of it, like God did provide, you know, maybe not always in the ways I would have liked or always in the ways that I thought would happen, but like, we're still here, we're still living. I have a third baby, you know, he's continued to provide, but you know, again, it's like grieving a person, but it was also grieving to a degree, like a life that I thought I was going to have. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm almost going to be 40. Why are we like struggling financially? Like, we should be like taking vacations and doing all these fun things and like not worrying about like groceries and stuff. It was just like a very humbling moment of like the things that matter and the things that don't. Yes. But it's definitely been like a grieving, different types of a grieving season of person and things and expectations, and you know.
So do you, like, obviously I know, you know, you've been through a lot the last couple of years, but you seem to be, and I don't want to assume, but you seem to be very good at like taking time for yourself when you need it. I think obviously we can all do better at it, but do you feel like that's helped just to give yourself space?
I mean, people would probably want to like throw up at this, but I feel like working for me is like a self-care thing where I can just like go to this place, use my brain, and it has nothing to do with being a mom.
Yeah, like I can relate.
Yeah.
After I got through postpartum, I felt that way.
Yes, yes.
The first part of it was rough, but after, I think there's something valuable for me, I'll speak for myself, of like solving a problem.
Yeah, solving it too. I mean, raising kids is so complex and complicated. You know, I think when my kids were really little, like babies, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Like, how do people have more than one child? And I think I've realized now, having 3, like, it is very physically taxing, but like the mental game is not necessarily there yet. And now it's like the mental game and like making sure your kids like don't turn into jerks and are like nice people and, you know, taking them to church and like all, and like making sure they're just like good humans, and kids are mean and lots of things at school and activities. And I think that it's a lot more complicated and obviously one that you just can't control, right? I mean, you can try your best, you can read all the books, you can do all the things, but just like the world is kind of a hard, scary place now.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like a lot.
Yeah, honestly, you just have to pray, because if you just like for me, I'm very analytical like you, where it's like I kind of dissect everything down. It's like if you really spend all your time dissecting how this is going to go and how that's going to, you would literally drive yourself nuts.
Yeah.
So like you do have to trust God to help. You do your best and then you pray and hopefully he can do the rest. Like you can only do so much.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've had to come to terms with, because I'm not with my daughter every day.
Yeah.
And she's little.
Yeah.
She's not even talking yet.
Yeah.
But it's going to be harder when she forms her own opinions and her own thoughts and she can make her own decisions, because then we can't be there every single step of the way. There's other people that have to be involved, even if you're not a career mom.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, or a corporate mom or whatever. Yeah. Like, you're not always going to be with your kid 100%. When they're an adult, guess what? They're going to be on their own.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah,
we just have to pray and hope that God can watch over their life and protect them and that we've done our part. And I do believe that everybody's different. Not every mom works, but I do think that as a working mother, like, I hope that it will inspire my daughter to believe in herself, that she can do whatever she wants to do, that she's not limited.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it's been a journey, and my 3 kids are very, very different kids. Like, my daughter has level 1 autism, and so like that's like a struggle sometimes, just transparently. And my son is like feral. He's wild, like loud, kind of a bull in a china shop. And then like my third is just kind of along for the ride. I have to be like 3 different parents to 3 very different children. And, you know, in hindsight, I would say too, with everything we've gone through the last couple of years, like, you know, have I always been the parent that I want to be? No. Have I probably given myself, you know, I remember like right after my husband got let go, it was like, I feel like we were giving ourselves passes a lot, because we were just like, oh my gosh, we were under so much stress and like emotional turmoil that like my patience is thin and like I can only do so much. But, you know, at some point it's like you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps a little bit and like pull your life together, because it's like their childhood, right?
Yeah.
And you don't
want
them
a lot
to...
of pressure too, though. You know
it is. It's like, I don't want your childhood to be just like full of remembering your parents were stressed all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a good reminder for me, because I want to be present in the moment and not like, even though I can be stressed about many things, like not let that come across.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
There are days, even like, there's some days I'm like super engaged with her, and other days I'm like, I don't feel like sitting down and playing with you. I'm exhausted, totally drained. Like you work all day and, you know, it's a lot. It's funny that you said that about being like 3 different moms to like your 3 kids. I've heard that from other moms that have multiples.
They just need, you know, my oldest is like so sweet, really chill. She's very introverted, which is very not me. And, you know, she definitely can be more shy and doesn't love like being in a crowd or speaking in front of people. Like, she's just would kind of rather be behind the scenes. And so being a mom too, that's like generally like a pretty extroverted, very social, kind of loud, like want to be in the spotlight, notice me kind of person sometimes. Like, that's hard to be like, you know, why don't you want to be out there? Why are you embarrassed that we're singing like happy birthday to you? I loved when people celebrated my birthday. It's just like, ooh, I don't like that. And so it's just, you know, challenged and stretched me for sure in different ways, because I don't know, it's what they tell you about being like a good boss, right? Like, as a boss, to be a good boss, it's not your job to expect all of your people to like adapt to your style. It's like, and I feel like that's the same thing with parenting. Like, as a parent, to a degree, I have to tailor my message and my style to like how each child is going to receive or be
Yeah.
disciplined or communicated to in the best way. And because expecting them to just like, I'm gonna be this way and I'm gonna be like authoritarian and like y'all are just gonna like fall in line. It's like, well, lady, you got another thing coming.
Yep. Yep. It just doesn't work like that.
No, you're just making it hard for
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah. And just full of like conflict.
Yeah. So how do you like, as a mom of 3, how do you pick your battles? Like, how do you decide what you want to be firm on versus like be relaxed about?
Yeah. Well, come to my house, you'd see.
We'll find out.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly some of it. It's just like there are things you just have to learn to let go. And for me personally, a little bit, it's been some of the house stuff of like, you have 3 kids and you're home on the weekends, like you pick it all up and it comes out the next day.
I know.
And like, what are you doing to yourself by just like getting mad at the kids that they played in the house? And so like, yeah, there's toys everywhere. There's stuff on my kitchen table. There are things all over the floor, but it's like, my mom told me, she's like, Mimi, there will come a day where you will not have toys anywhere in your house, where your kids will be gone. Like you'll have the majority of your life to have the clean, beautiful,
right.
pristine house that you want. You only get, 18 years of time with these kids to like have their toys everywhere and to play. And if that's a battle that you just need to let go, there's a battle you need to let go.
Yep.
And so, sure.
It's a struggle. I'm very
Yes.
OCD and I have 1 and I'm constantly picking up her stuff.
It is. But then it's also the fine balance of knowing yourself. And it's like,
Yeah.
if you are that way and by having like a mess and things around, like actually causes you stress, then like, and it makes you feel better to pick it up.
I'm just one of those people. You probably saw my dumpster. I will literally want to get another dumpster and like throw everything
Just
out.
throw everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go through those moments too. I'm like rage clean and want to
Overstimulated.
throw everything away. I'm just like, you didn't play this toy in 3
I'll be
weeks.
that.
I'm gonna throw it away.
I'll be that mom.
like,
Be like,
why
I don't
are
know
we
where your
saving these
toy went.
McDonald's toys?
Yeah. It's like, I'm sorry you got that toy last week. I don't know where it is.
I don't know what it is.
No idea.
You didn't pick it up. You must have lost it.
Oh,
I'm so
sorry.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's just like, it's picking your battles. I mean, I absolutely, for me, a non-negotiable is just like being kind to other people, not using cruel words. Like, I don't want to hear that you were a mean kid at school. Like for me, that's like a hard line, hard pass. Generally, I would say have not had those issues. I don't know. It's just every day is a new day and a different day, honestly.
Yeah.
And the lines, not to say they're different, but it's just like, the kids are just so different sometimes. And so again, like we are kind to each other. We are kind to hopefully our parents. We respect our parents.
Yeah. And I think like prioritizing and teaching them like what's about like the value of what's important in life. And I've heard you say that going through this grieving process of, unfortunately when you lost your nephew, I feel like what you said, I heard you say earlier of like, you just learned what was valuable to you and what wasn't. Do you think that changed you like after that happened going forward with other relationships?
Yes, for sure. My sister said a funny thing too, like, again, with like at the time, my husband in a situation and like stressed about money, those moments where we've spent money to like go on a vacation with family or go see family and it's so cheesy, but YOLO, literally, you only live once. And that's honestly the truth. So cheesy, but it's true.
Oh, that's how I live my life to a fault.
It's like, okay, you could not spend money on that vacation because you want to save it, which again, not to say that's not a noble thing and a good thing to do, but like,
what are you saving it for?
That, and it's just like, I saw how quickly like someone, the least person that I ever thought would die first in my family, just like gone in an instant. And so it's like, you save your money and then literally you save your money and then you die. And so it's like, you want to be able to fill the time and those years with memories. And like my parents, are older too. Like they're going to be 80 here in another year or two. And so
because you're so much younger than your siblings.
So it's just like, I don't know, spend the money, worry about it later if it means that like we're making memories and spending time with family because like that's what matters.
It does. And I've talked to my husband about this a lot because we've obviously traveled a lot. And sometimes I'll ask him like, what are your best memories that we've had? Like almost every memory is when we've taken a trip, like the most valuable memories that we've had. And I also... I've heard somebody say or read somewhere that like kids only remember of all the days in their life, they only remember like 10 minutes out of the day. So like those core memories are what they remember. They don't remember the daily like grind. Like I don't remember the daily grind. I remember core memories. And I also had a mom that worked.
Yeah, so did
and
I.
I never thought, oh my gosh, my mom works. That's how I grew up. And so I think we just like, we put all these thoughts in our own mind of like how our kids are going to think about us, but really they're going to remember the core memories. They're not remembering that they had macaroni and cheese or nuggets for dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like they just won't remember that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think it goes back to like picking your battle things, you know? It's just like, I got 2 kids that are picky eaters. You know, you could say they eat more than some, but like they do not like vegetables. As much as I try, I mean, we kind of hide in things by like the veggie fruit yogurt things where things are like hidden.
I already do that.
But like they are not going to eat a piece of broccoli. Like it's just never going to happen. Because it's a battle I choose. You know, it's like we're going to take a daily vitamin then that you'll have fun with. We'll put it in things that you won't not know they're there. But again, it's just like not just, it's a phase.
I am like
really
not.
Eat chicken nuggets probably for every meal for like
my
years.
goal, you can hyper up fixate. And I'm not saying like wellness and all that's not important. It is. That's great. If you want to have all organic, natural, whatever.
Yeah.
But like you can hyper fixate on that stuff to the point where like I know kids that have like never had like, I don't know, Cheez-Its or something. Like they've never had, it's like, that's part of our childhood and we're fine. Like we had a lot of that stuff. And do you know what I'm saying? It's like, you just don't want to be like overly.
And you can try all you want, but they feed them crap at school or like at their friend's house. So it eventually happens. We did pretty well for a while. Like my kids never drink soda, like ever. And even now I let them have like
just limited
Sprite Zero or something like that, where it's like no sugar, no caffeine.
Yeah.
And like juice we limit, but like for sure it's balance. I'm like, because they're not even veggies, so like fine, you can.
Yeah,
like,
definitely about
There's so many things you can get stressed out about, and I think also like what people don't realize sometimes too. I think there are a lot of people that like parent out of like fear too, or their own anxiety, and they kind of put that on their kids too in ways you just like don't even realize.
And that alone could be a whole episode.
Probably. I know. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, I don't want my kids also, you know, to like remember their parents like super stressed out, even though we were. I'm hoping that, again, like you said, core memories, that they're still remembering and doing fun things. Like, yeah, we've, you know, at times like scrimped on groceries so that like Hadley could stay doing gymnastics and Harrison could play baseball. And like, cause I'm like, those are fun, important things to do. That I'd rather sacrifice my own thing. Like, yeah, okay, like you said, I only get my hair cut once a year now. Yeah. And honestly, frankly, it's a money thing. And it's because like I would rather have my kids have their experiences than sometimes my self-care things, which, you know, I think I've had to learn that there are other ways to have self-care that isn't necessarily a beauty routine, which was hard for me because I used to get my nails done like all the time. And I used to love like getting my hair done and like fun hair, you know, fancy haircuts. And it's just like, well, I cannot maintain some like super fashionable.
Well, your hair looks great. Do you color it?
I did actually. It's my one haircut of the year.
I like it. It's so long. Like I makes me want to grow my hair out.
I mean, this was like cut off like 4 inches. So it was like really dry. So I don't know. Yeah, there's like things like you learn what's important.
You just make a lot of sacrifices.
You can let go.
Yeah.
You figure out what your priorities are. Sometimes, yeah, you give yourself a couple free passes because like you just need that for your own mental health. Like I pay for my clothing rental service because I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy clothes, but I'm like, I just need to feel like I'm having some fresh things in my closet every once in a while.
For me, at this point in my life, what makes me feel refreshed is to have like a mental break.
Yeah.
And that's free. You could go out and have a walk. Like I can go like take a bath. Like once Sophia's asleep, after all the work is done, like just clearing my head.
Yeah.
Because I think I just get so overloaded. Like before, when it was just me and Brandon and we worked, I'm like, I had so much capacity. I think about the capacity I had and I'm like, what did I do with my time? We did everything. We went everywhere.
It's just so funny, like how everything is relative to a degree. You know, it's like,
it's true.
I look back at photos of myself, you know, in my 20s, and I'm like, I probably at the moment like thought I was fat. I was like, oh my gosh, girl, you were like in the best shape of your life.
I know.
What were you thinking?
I know.
And then too, I probably thought I was like busy, had no time, and it's like now you really don't have any time.
Yeah, but it's funny. You just evolve so much, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't regret not doing more because I feel like being a mom shaped me into the person I am. And I feel like I had those life experiences and now my priorities, like I feel like I get so much more done now with more on my plate. I know that sounds really odd.
Well, you learn to prioritize and differently and what to give your time to and what not to. And the time that you do get to yourself, I feel like you really like savor it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh,
I feel like I
1 hour to
value
myself. This is amazing.
I value time a lot more. So I get more done because I value it more. Whereas before, I wasted a lot of time. But I also did a lot. We went like on date nights, we went and saw movies, we went like travel. Like we were busy, but it was with stuff we wanted to do.
Sure. Which you should do before you have kids, right?
Yeah.
If you have the time. I mean, like, people are like, oh, I hate traveling for work. I'm like, I like it. I mean, I stress out a little bit.
If I can stay in a nice
husband
hotel
behind with 3 kids, but I'm like, oh my gosh, to be able to eat out, have an uninterrupted meal. I can literally just go shower and like go to bed versus having to do like 3 tuck-ins. This is like a luxury.
Yeah, seriously.
There's a lot of pressures of, you should be doing this, or your kids should be doing this, or you should have been over things by now, or whatever it is. And again, I think the more you can kind of just like let yourself sit in things sometimes and just go with the flow a little bit and be kind to yourself, to know like things are not going to be perfect and you are going through something. So like give yourself, like acknowledge that that there's other things going on. Because I just felt like I was always like hard on myself. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when he passed, I think I literally took like a couple days off, when like this was probably the most catastrophic, traumatic thing that's ever happened in my life. Like, I feel like I probably should have taken more time off. And it's not to say that my team wouldn't have given it to me, but I think I just was like, oh, I just need to do like, I hate to say it, but I'm like, I think I need to do something. Like, everything else felt out of control, that I'm like, okay, at work, I can control that. And maybe that's a lot of too why I like working. It's like motherhood, so much of that is like, I can't control all these things. I mean, I can certainly try. We can have the best of intentions, but my kids eventually will be their own people. And like, you spend your 18 years raising these kids for them to just leave you at some point.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And that's the goal.
That's the goal.
But I think a lot of times, like, I enjoy working because I do feel sometimes like that I can control. I can control my performance. I can control how I show up at work. I can control the quality of work that I do.
And you are giving so much to your family by working.
Yeah. I mean, like, when my husband got let go, like, I was like the breadwinner in the family, and that was not ever the plan. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm giving something to them because I'm, in a way, like doing something for me.
Yeah.
That I like to do.
It's benefiting
that, like, still
all of
makes
you.
me feel like me. And that I haven't just like fallen into like being a mom as like my whole personality.
Yeah. I feel like it's like a superpower in a way. Like, being a mom fuels me to do everything else that I do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I know, it's funny. It's like, I wonder sometimes, I'm like, do people look at me and think like, can she do this job? Like, she has 3 kids. Doesn't she have like a lot going on? And I'm also like notorious for, you can ask anyone who really knows me, like notorious for overcommitting myself and doing things. So like, I'm the content creator for like the St. Louis group. I am on the PTG for my daughter's school, like hosting this event this summer at church. Like, it just doesn't stop. Like,
This is the thing I've had to tell myself, because we're like the same person in this area. Just because you can do something,
it doesn't mean you should. I know.
100%. I have to tell myself this, so I'm telling Jelena the same. It's hard because you can do everything. You literally can, but we physically, mentally can only do so much.
Yes.
But I do think, and it's funny because in the beginning of this year, I was like, I'm going to do less. And I've done so much more than I ever said I was going to do in the beginning of 2026. But it's meaningful work. It's meaningful work.
For sure.
And if I wouldn't have started, I feel like, doing as much online, I wouldn't have met you.
Yeah.
I've met a few other like friends in this, like doing this thing. So I feel like God like He allows us to do things for our own good when we don't even see like what He's doing. Yeah. And that's for everything in life. Like, it isn't always this beautiful picture, but there's a reason. Yeah. Like, He's still God. He's still in control, and He sees our future. But I appreciate you sharing this story of, this is like very vulnerable for you to share this grieving process. And I feel like a lot of people will benefit from hearing you talk about healing, because it isn't something that's like final. I love what you said about the donut. There's this hole in the middle and you kind of live around it. Yeah. I've never heard it described like that.
Yeah. No, that's what just comes to mind.
And it's so accurate.
Just like, you build your life around it. There's still a hole there. And
but I also feel like, as hard as that is, like, you've shared things that your life has benefited from, because it's helped you rebalance and reset and reprioritize what's important.
Yeah.
And you can put that in your kids.
%.
You would have never wanted that.
No.
But because of it,
Yeah.
you're using it to then ultimately change your life and your family. It's like you can't change it, but
But my toxic positive thing that I would say,
let's do
I
it.
actually do believe is like, growing up, my mom always reminded me, she was like, Mimi, happiness is a choice. Like in your situation, you can choose to be joyful or you can choose to be sad or angry or hurt or whatever it is. And, you know, again, maybe it goes back to the control piece a little bit of like, it is within my control, I guess, to a degree, like barring anyone that may have like mental health, like true mental health issues is like, for me, I can choose every day to like get up and have a good attitude and have a smile on my face and pick my kids up and drop them off and like tell them to have a good day. And like that is well within my control. And again, it does not mean that I am still not like terribly sad about my nephew, clearly, because I like still cry when I talk about it. But it doesn't also mean that like I can't be joyful too. Yeah. You know, it's
like the life that he did live too.
And I think, and then maybe that's the takeaway too, that, you know, and it's the cheesy saying, like, you can't know the light without the dark. And I truly feel like that's what it is a lot of the times. Like we, for lack of a better word, like that year, 2023 was literally like probably the worst year of my life. Like everything that could like go wrong did, with very little being able to control anything. And, you know, but at the end of the day, you can let it break you or you can just keep moving through it. Right. But again, I'm not beyond it. I'm not above it. I can't say that I'm fully over it, healed. But I've learned to move with it. And I now know and appreciate the moments of like happiness and joy. And there's a different appreciation for that I probably took for granted before all the things happened.
Yeah, for sure. I think there are days that, like you said, you never arrive. And there are days that you don't succeed, if that makes sense. Like when I was going through postpartum, and there are still days that I struggle just to get out of bed. I don't think I'm fully past it. And there are days that are just like that. Yeah. You're not going to be hero mom every single day, but really like your kids, they'll love us. Our kids will love us no matter what. They'll remember those like core memories.
in spite of it all, yes. Hopefully.
They will. Because one of these days they're going to understand. They're going to be hopefully, you know, maybe they'll be parents, they'll understand. There are things that my mom went through that I did not appreciate until I became a parent.
Yeah. I mean, you don't realize like all the things that like your parents shield you from.
The
sacrifice or financial struggles they had that you just had no idea about because they just let you keep living your life and doing your thing because they wanted you to just be a kid and enjoy your life. Sometimes I feel like there was a balance of like, okay, maybe like I would have been a little bit more prepared to like be an adult if maybe we had talked a little bit more about these things. But like, again, figure it out. But
you get the basics.
And again, you know, at least you have parents that love and support you that are still there for when you really screw it up.
That's the most, honestly though, that's it right there. I feel like as a parent, I have benefited more from my mom the last few years than I did as a little kid.
Yeah.
You don't understand what I'm saying? Like she's been here for me as an adult, and that's been like what I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's just different, you know?
It's a different level. It's a deep friendship versus like daughter, mom, we're friends.
Yeah.
So just to close this out, any final thoughts?
If there's someone who's listening who can't relate to like a losing a person situation, because again, there's some people, like I remember growing up and being so envious of my friends in high school because they had never, like all their grandparents were still living. My grandparents were all dead by the time I was like 12.
Yeah.
My grandma died in front of me when I was 10. That's like a whole other story. She died in front of me at the mall. Like, that's a story for another day.
Heck?
I know. Kind of.
We got to talk about that at some point.
Incident.
I'm not trying to laugh. I can't believe you saved that to the end.
It's like a kind of a thing now.
That's not funny.
But I mean, it's gonna be like a little bit funny now. It's been like several, like 20
That's
plus
horrible.
years. But you know, again, I think in motherhood there are so many things that like you grieve that maybe you don't even put that word on it. I think a lot of people save the word like grief or like, oh, like someone's died and I'm grieving the death. But there are a lot of things, and I think that's the thing that I've had to learn a lot this last few years too, is like grieving expectations like that you have either of yourself or your children or how your life would turn out. And like try not to be, you know, maybe acknowledging the disappointment, but not letting it like rule your life.
Because how many people do you know that's the case?
I'm sure there are a lot of people out there.
I know people that I'm like, their
Whether
life was
people would
controlled
admit
by
some
this
of it.
one event.
Yeah.
This one event altered their whole life.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can even be a small thing, you know, like small things of like, you know, I don't know, I thought my kid was going to turn out like this and they didn't, you know, and like thoughts, expectations you have around that. Like, again, being a super extroverted kid, I'm seeing my girlfriends with like some of their daughters that are like super into like dance and competition and they're traveling and doing other things. I'm like, my daughter would find that horrifying. And again, it's not like, okay, it's not that big of a deal that you're grieving, but it's like, you know, you see your friends doing this fun thing and it's like, you know, my child is like so not into that. And again, nothing wrong with it, but
That's reality right there though.
it is. And it's like a, you know, situation that you're never going to be able to relate to in that way.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just, again, and these are expectations that like you build up in your head and like you decide that like, oh, these things are going to happen to me and they don't. And again, it's kind of more about you maybe sometimes than it is like the world. But I do think there is a degree of just like acknowledging some of those things, obviously, hopefully moving past them, but like still being okay with like naming what it is and like, hey, I actually am like kind of disappointed, you know, in whatever that is. Because I do think that like when you leave grief unchecked, it turns into other things, rage, anger, anxiety. And so I think sometimes just like naming and calling feelings out for what they are makes it easier maybe to identify, to be able to move through it and move with it. I don't like saying moving beyond it because like sometimes you just don't.
Well, it's like when somebody goes to, like somebody's in the military and they go to war, experience never leaves them. It stays with them. And so it's like that like trauma part of your brain, it does alter the brain chemistry when you go through trauma or you experience something like traumatic.
Yeah. No, it does.
And so it does stay with you and you do move with it. So it's very real. And I appreciate you saying that because there's a lot of ways to grieve, just like someone being in your life that's no longer in your life. That's a big one. For me, it's been, I didn't have the birth experience that I thought I was going to have.
Yep. Totally.
Like
I can relate to that as well too.
Somebody, maybe they wanted a little boy and they had a little girl, or they wanted a little girl and had a little boy. Like there's so many things, and it's, you don't have to
they'd be further in their career. They, you know, had to take a back seat with being a mom for a bit, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you don't have to feel bad because you are grieving. Like there's not a guilt. Like people hold on to guilt. They feel bad for grieving something, and it's okay. It's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be like hurt. You can still be happy and be like, okay, I have to acknowledge this so that I can either move on from it or reevaluate what I need to do.
Yeah. Reevaluate myself of like, maybe why am I feeling this way or disappointed about X, Y, and Z?
And from a Christian perspective, for me, my mom's been really good at saying like, if you ever get caught up in focusing on like you, right? You can get really disappointed. But if you just look to God and like keep the focus on him, it's really hard to be disappointed and angry. If you're focusing on him and like always look, instead of looking at me and like, woe is me, it's like if you like acknowledge God and like praise and worship him, he'll like fill you in that process. It's like looking up instead of looking down here, if that makes sense. Because it's easy, we can get caught up in things that are happening because it's happening in front of us versus like remembering like God's plan. And God's plan is that he wants to live eternally with us. And his plan is not to have a world of sin and death.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember that when you're in the chaos of your day.
Yeah.
Or grieving something.
I just think we're all imperfect people. Like I try to tell myself, when you go in these meetings with leadership, it's like, you all put your pants on the same way 100%. When you get up every morning. They don't get dressed in a different way than you do, you know? Like, you know, I think, you know, and that's something that I definitely feel passionate about within motherhood is like finding those people that like are willing to, and I think you definitely are, like willing to admit that like, I don't have it all together. There's a lot of things I probably could do better, things that I can do differently. And motherhood can be chaotic and crazy, especially as like working mom. I think it's like being honest with that. It's really hard for me to relate now, especially with like some of this social media, which is ironic, content creators, where it's just like they put on this like perfect Instagram life. I'm just like, nope, that is not me. Lucky to get out the door every morning with everyone like dressed and fed and like a smile on their face. And you know what? That's all I can ask for. And if that's all I can ask for right now, that's the season we're in. Success.
That's it.
That's it.
It looks different every day. And like I recorded, it's funny because there's There's one, I haven't posted it yet, but there's like a day in the life that I recorded, and it's literally me in bed all day. Because it's like, not every day, there's clearly days that I don't record, and there's a reason why. It's like, I have a messy bun, or I haven't put makeup on, or I can't get out of bed. Like I, so overwhelmed with whatever it is. It could be nothing, but it's just your brain. And it's like, I don't record those days. Of course I don't.
Yeah.
But it's like, they're real and they exist.
Yes, and probably more often than not, people have a lot of those days too, whether they admit them or not openly.
100%.
But I'm here for the messy moms. That's what I'm here for.
And I'm glad I'm starting this journey out like early on in my parenting experience so that I can learn to let this stuff go now.
Yeah.
Because there's already been things that I'm like, I've had to let go. And it's okay. Like, it's more about, like you said, like being present in the moment and valuing the core memories and, focusing on God and making sure that he's the priority, because all these other things in the long run, they don't matter. What matters is, like, for me, it's like your memories and spending that valuable time with your family and doing something for the greater good.
Yeah. I mean, I think you just realized, in me losing my nephew, you just like really don't know when the day is going to be your day. Could be tomorrow, could be 10 years from now, could be 85 years from now. You just don't know. And, again, not to say that I feel like I'm doing an amazing job of it, but you hope to just like not live with a whole bunch of regrets or a whole bunch of things you would have done differently. Again, there's still grace for some of that for sure. But I think that's at least maybe one thing like his passing has taught me, is just like nothing is guaranteed tomorrow, and even your children. I mean, that's the thing my sister, which is kind of incredible that she talks about, is like Jonah was God's. Like, she was charged with him, with him to raise him. But like at the end of the day, he was never hers to keep.
Yeah, that hits me hard because that's tough to accept.
Yeah. And they were like thick as thieves too. They were so close. That's been hard too, to like watch like your family member or your loved one go through something that just like will never be fixed. And I feel bad. If she ever listens to this, I feel bad too, because I have not done a good job of being able to talk to her about it and talk about her grief, because honestly, I still feel like so sad about it myself. And I know, like, me crying about it makes then her cry about it, and it's just like a whole thing. And so,
How is she doing?
she's doing okay. I'll say she's
can't
doing.
even
I don't
imagine.
know.
Like,
It's
I
weird to
literally
say
can't
she's
imagine.
doing better. Like, it's a weird,
Yeah.
I think she's doing as well as you could hope for.
Well, it goes back to the donut. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Did you hear that from someone, or did that
No,
just like,
I don't know. I've always heard like you kind of just like, it never goes away. You just build your life around it.
that's one of the most impactful things I've heard about grief. Seriously. I can't believe that I've never heard that before, because that is the most accurate depiction
Yeah.
that I've heard of. Yeah. So I like, seriously, like, I hope that it helps people that are going through this, because, mothers or not, because I think people think that that hole will eventually close up, but it's okay if it doesn't.
Yeah.
That makes sense? Like,
Yeah.
you can move on and still have that peace.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is it? What is it? What's his name? Andrew Garfield, the Spider-Man actor.
Yeah.
He was like, he popped up a lot. I don't know if it was because he was in the news when this was happening, but he like lost his mother, I think, to cancer or something. And like whenever someone asks about it, he like gets teary. But he talked about it like, he's like, the reason I'm so sad is because like it's like all this love that like, it's like I have so much love. I had so much love to give. And like that's truly what it is. It's just all this love now with like kind of nowhere to go. And I think, you hope you can end your life, I suppose, with so many people just like remembering and loving you. Like, I hope that's the way like I can leave this world too. Just wish it hadn't been so soon. But yeah, I don't know. It is. It's like so much love with like nowhere to go. And not that, he's not around or doesn't hear me. So like my daughter, so Harper, I heard this crazy story that like after people go through loss, it's really common for like people to have babies after that. I don't know. I read this. I don't know. It's like a grief sad thing. But so like my daughter Harper, her middle name is after Jonah. So she's Harper
so
Joe.
Sweet. That's so sweet.
So I always like think about him when I like say her name. And, she definitely helped to like heal a part of me. Like, honestly, my pregnancy was kind of like a miracle in itself. I was not supposed to have a third child. I was literally in the midst of considering a hysterectomy. I had a C-section with my son and it never healed, like internally. And so
They were like, it's very, very dangerous for you to be pregnant. The scar could, in theory, like get larger as the baby gets bigger and literally like rupture. So I was like under high risk care, had like ultrasounds all the time. And like my pregnancy, and yes, we planned for her to, I had a C-section 4 weeks early. And that was planned like from the beginning, pretty much. And I did not have a single problem that entire pregnancy. Wow. Yeah.
You needed it
crazy.
after everything.
I needed that.
Good night.
And like, and like you, with both of my older kids, I had terrible deliveries, terrible kind of postpartum experiences. Like my births did not go at all how I thought. My son was 9 pounds, 10 ounces and had like a last minute C-section kind of thing. And like really tough. Just was not prepared for that at all. And it means why my 2 kids are 4 years apart, because after my daughter too was very traumatic, that I'm like, I cannot have another baby for a long time. Like my brain and my body needs to forget what that was like to me to be able to have another child. So yes, I would have loved for them to be a little bit closer in age, but physically could not do it. But my third, like it's been, you know, again, while I was not supposed to, I probably would have never been able to pull the trigger if you had asked me like, do you want to have a baby, and like plan for that. But like she definitely has like healed a part of me that I didn't really like realize needed to be healed, I guess. I've really like enjoyed her from the baby stage until now. Like she truly is one I'm like, oh my gosh, I just don't want this to be over, because I just love watching her grow and change and like all the little things about her that with the other 2 I was so caught up, I think, in my own physical and mental healing that I just couldn't enjoy it in the way that I should have wanted to. But the third, she's been like she's a dream. She's a delight. Awesome. She's hilarious and just so sweet, and all the things I thought were really hard when the other 2 were little. I'm like, okay, I can do this now.
Maybe that's the key. You have to have 3 kids.
You're like, oh, this isn't that bad. All this other stuff's really hard, but like this I can do, you know, because again, their needs are just so basic. Sleep, eat, diaper.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not complex yet.
Yep.
But yeah, I truly believe she's like my little gift from God.
Angel.
My little gift from Jonah in a lot of ways. Like, I don't know.
That's
for the whole family, she was just kind of like a healing thing. I don't want to say like a distraction, but just like for everyone to feel like a little piece of joy again after everyone had experienced such loss. You know? Yeah,
for sure. And it's not a 1-for-1, but it is awesome that the Lord provided that for you when you weren't expecting it too.
Oh yeah, no, definitely was not.
After everything you went through, like I just can't even imagine.
Yeah. Well, and being, you know, you're not supposed to be super stressed when you're pregnant and all these things. And like, again, it's like thinking about finances of like, oh my gosh, how are we going to afford a third child? Like
so I don't want it to like focus on myself, but my husband lost his job when I was pregnant. So I know I can relate. I can relate.
I know.
It was one of the most stressful. And then during that time, my sister and her teenage daughter moved in with us.
And you're like, how are you supposed to afford?
Yeah. So it's just interesting how like things all happen at once.
Yeah.
And I was going through prenatal depression during that time. So that was, it wasn't a year-long struggle, but that was like a couple months of just like, it was like awful.
Awful, yeah.
And I don't even like to talk about it. It was so rough. But we're out of that. We're past it. We moved on.
Mm-hmm. So did you have like, postpartum issues with it? Like
depression?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel like, well, now I second guess myself because I'm like, was I depressed before but didn't know it? Maybe I was. The hormones were just nuts.
It's too much. Yeah.
That was what happened with me. Yeah. Like I would just like, it was like the black cloud feeling. Yeah. 24/7. And I was like, I told my doctor, I was like, I'll do anything to get through this.
Yeah. Does that scare you when thinking about having, I know it's not guaranteed necessarily that it would happen again, but does that scare you like in having a child someday?
Yes. But I'm still on antidepressant medicine. And I don't think I'm going to get off of it fully for a while.
Yeah.
Just because the level of extremes that I felt, I've never experienced before. The extreme high, I mean, it's not just extreme depression, it was extreme anxiety.
Yeah.
So it would the only thing I can describe it is like, you know, those things at the fair when they like hit the base and then like the thing goes up and things at the top. That was me with like anxiety, stress, anger, like depression. Like it was all just a ball of mess.
Did it impact like being able to do things on a daily basis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I've never in my life experienced that. I've always been like positive, cheerleader, like super happy. And I don't have anything in my life to be that. And that's the thing that's hard about depression is like, you just feel like I have nothing in my life to be sad about. Like you think, look at all the good things that I have. Like you feel guilty because you shouldn't feel that way, but you do. You know what I mean? So it's just like, a lot of that is just mind games. Like I did go to therapy, postpartum therapy, and she's like, Jelena, you have the right to feel depressed. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, anybody could be.
Like or to feel sad or to grieve. Like, and I think that that's part of this conversation too, is like just because your life could be better than someone else's doesn't mean that your feelings are invalid.
Right. Yeah.
Because I've always discredited the way I feel because I have like a wonderful life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I look at other people and I'm like, but look, they don't have this or they're suffering or whatever. But it's like
struggling in other ways and you have all these other things. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't minimize how you feel, and you're still like, your story is your own story.
Yeah.
And that's helped me a ton because it's helped me separate and not compare. Because you can compare yourself and it not be a jealous comparison. It can be I feel guilty comparison.
Yeah.
It's called like survivor's guilt.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
There's probably other names for it, but that's the general idea. So that's when I just decided, I'm going to try to do more for others, give back. And that's why I've started doing a lot of this with nonprofit. Not because I felt guilty, but because I feel like as someone that does have a level of like privilege and connections with people in the corporate world, like we need to use that for good. So I feel like that's part of our responsibility. But
yeah, no, that makes sense.
Listeners, thank you so much for joining. Definitely make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I see you're viewing, but we need subscribers. And join us every Tuesday for a new episode on the Mamas Who Brunch podcast. Again, I'm Jillian, your host. And Mimi, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks, mamas, for joining. And we will see you again next week. Thanks so much.
Ding.